My name's Janet Sibley. I originally come from Manchester and now I live in Mooncoin and I paint. I've painted for about 10 years. I've dabbled before that but not really done anything serious. And then in 2012 that's when I started painting in earnest. And before that I'd had these vague attempts at painting and thought, no, I can't really do that. A couple of times I even threw things in the bin and took my paints down to the charity shop and just gave up on it. And then in 2012 when I started up, I've kind of never looked back. I paint as much and as often as I can. I love nature. I love like creatures, bees and bugs and stuff. I like to paint them because they're colourful, and I also like the way they all have like different kinds of behaviour and stuff. And I like to try and capture that in what I paint and then give it sort of an appropriate title, just like I've got one called The Altruist, I've got one called The Pollinator, just sort of saying what they do in the painting. This, where I paint this space, was when we moved in here. There's a cottage, there was a couple of outbuildings. This was one of them. When I say it was an outbuilding, it was just a concrete shell. It had been a garage, which the roof had blown off in 2016 in the Hurricane Ophelia. And so there was just this concrete shell. There was like nothing on the floor. It's like concrete and moss and everything. It was all overgrown with weeds. And then Clive and his friend Wayne, they made a start on it. They got the roof on it and everything. And there's tons of light. And so it's just a really nice area. And we share this area. Sometimes he's got office work to do, so he'll have his little desk there and I'll have my table to paint on over here. And we'll just kind of work away together, which is really nice. It's kind of like a joint project. I've gone through different phases with my paintings. What I really love to do is portraits. I love to be able to capture the person. So it's not just the detail, but kind of the character of the person that I'm painting. And it can so easily be just slightly off. So that's quite a challenge sometimes, but I do love to get something right. I've done a lot of paintings of my own family, my boys, my sister and her daughters. So then my son sent me a photograph of a bee last year, which is the painting down there, the pollinator. I asked him, could I paint that picture? And he said, yeah, work away. So after I painted that, that was it then. I was just into insects and bugs and bees and stuff. And I'm always photographing them to the point of obsession. More often than not, I'm very easily distracted and I'll go out to get the washing in or something and then I'll see a bee and that's it. I've got to take a picture of it. Not that I haven't got millions of photos of bees already, but just one more. And so yeah, that's how I came to do the insects and stuff. And they've gone down really well because they're so colourful and everybody loves creatures. I work mostly in oils on canvas, but I have noticed recently I've done one or two bits and pieces on just canvas board and I find that easier to paint on. Just, yeah, it's just sort of a nicer surface to paint on really. Canvas is good, I like working on canvas, but when it comes to big pieces of work I'd rather work on a board than anything. What I do when I'm painting something, and this is mostly everything that I paint, I will grid it first so that it's in ratio with whatever's on the photograph is gridded. Whatever is in that square goes in that square corresponding on the canvas or board. And then I'll mark it out in pencil and I will put as much detail in as I can, because the more detail I put in at the beginning, the less detail I have to find with paint later on. I like to be very methodical about whatever subject I'm painting and I like to get it as spot on as I can, so I find that the gridding really helps. So yeah, I'll start it off in pencil and then I'll work away with the paint. Usually what I find is, because I use a medium called Liquin as well, which gives a slight shine to your paint, it dries it quicker and it holds the colour so nice. And it was a tip that I picked up off an artist a good few years ago, a working artist, so I thought, oh yeah, I'll do that. So that makes the paint slightly thinner, So I kind of have to essentially paint the picture and then paint it again, but in detail. I do commissions. I'm having an exhibition in October with my bugs and bees and stuff. But then after that I will do commissions. So if anybody wants to send me a photo of a family member that they want painting and we can discuss it, that'll be fine, yeah.